So what I'm feeling in his abdomen, like I said before, doesn't have a bladder, so no evidence of urinary obstruction there. I don't feel much in terms of stool, so doesn't feel overly constipated at the moment. What I'm feeling towards the front of his abdomen, there's an area that almost feels like there's maybe a thickened intestinal loop, or something more that's not supposed to be there. That could be enlargement of the liver, that could possibly be a mass. And I don't know how much to make of it. Again, I can feel things a little bit more deeply in him because he's thin right now than I think we previously could. I'm not 100% convinced it's something to be worried about, but it feels a little off to me.
Okay.
So I would say that may or may not be something. Heart and lungs sound very normal. I do think he's on the thin side of healthy right now. You know, I think previously he was 13 pounds. Now he's at 10. Probably like 11 pounds would be a good weight for him.
Sure. I think he was 12.9
yeah,
in
12.9.
January.
Yep, exactly. Clinically, based on his history, he sounds like a cat that might have what's called hyperthyroidism, which is a disease that is caused by a benign little growth on the thyroid gland, which is a gland in the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can feel it. I can't on him, but...
Can't feel anything on his...
No.
Okay.
That's not technically diagnostic. Sometimes they're really tiny and we just can't. But it makes too much thyroid hormone. The thyroid essentially like regulates and kickstarts their metabolism. So if there's too much thyroid hormone, they go into this hypermetabolic state where they're really hungry, they're losing weight. They're often just really like active and vocal and agitated.
Mm-hmm.
Often they vomit. Sometimes they will drink more water and urinate more frequently too. So he's checking a couple of boxes for like being consistent with that, I would say. The way we screen for hyperthyroidism is blood work. Basically, we're checking his thyroid hormone level to see if that is elevated. And hyperthyroidism is a disease that is treatable. It's a chronic disease, and it's something we have to, kind of manage for him moving forward. But it is something that, can be managed. So I would say that is on my list. Possibly anything going on in the front of his abdomen could cause something like weight loss and increased hunger. Whether that's a mass, intestinal parasites, inflammatory bowel disease, those types of things can do this too. So as a starting point, I would say we've got a couple options. One would be we can screen some blood work. Again, I think the benefits of doing that are I get his thyroid hormone level. I would also get his blood cell counts, his liver and kidney function, blood sugar, blood protein levels, electrolytes, minerals. So in terms of like a general systemic health screening, that's probably the broadest kind of net I could throw to catch the most. Cost-wise, blood work is about $350 to do. The other thing we could consider would be taking x-rays of his belly to look and see if we can see anything abnormal in there based on what I'm feeling. Cost-wise, x-rays are probably also around $350. And sometimes people will tell me we want to start with one test and then move on to the other one and kind of go from there. I would say if I was going to prioritize one, I would probably prioritize blood work as a first step just based on what you're telling me